The FNRad Snowboard Podcast is presented by Flojoy Water. My new Burton gear has arrived, and I'm proud to have head-to-toe coverage. I've got an analog Gore-Tex jacket, Freebird 3L bibs, ruler boots, and a family tree hometown hero. The quality is absolutely unmatched, and most importantly for me, the boots rock right out of the box. It's been pure joy riding all new Burton gear. Go visit your local Burton dealer, or if you're in the Lower Mainland, check out the new Burton store at West 4th and Burrard. Hey listeners, this one's for you. Upline Brewing is beer for snowboarders by longtime Pacific Northwest shredder and FNRad listener Carl Montoya, who started Upline so you can crack a cold one anytime. No buzz, no slowdown, just good vibes. Unlike most NA beers, these actually taste legit, and they're brewed with adaptogens for a mellow uplift. The Steezy Golden Lager and Crushin' IPA come in at just 25 and 50 calories and feature artwork from local legends like Quincy Quigg. Have one at lunch, grab another lap, hit the after party, and still wake up for first chair or the bank slalom podium. Drinking regular beers, toss some Uplines into the lineup. The natural electrolytes help you stay hydrated and keep crushing. FNRad listeners score 15% off at uplinebrewing.com with code FNRAD, or set up a subscription, save more, and never run out. Upline Brewing, brewed to adapt, crafted to elevate. Fixed bindings are now guaranteed for life. The new Block 5s are a perfect blend of performance and simplicity. I can adjust the straps on the fly without tools, and they're consistently comfortable and easy to get into and out of. All the new fixed bindings look and ride incredibly, so go buy fixed bindings today at your local fixed dealer or check out fixedbindingco.com. Bluebird Coffee Tuning and Rentals in Squamish, BC is the coolest new stop just 20 seconds off the Sea to Sky Highway on your way to Whistler. Drop in for the world's best cup of coffee, killer smoothies, and a true local vibe born out of 90s snowboard culture and music. They offer performance ski and snowboard tunes with state-of-the-art equipment. They've got premium rental fleets of Jones, Solomon, Libtech, and Burton, including Burton Step-Ons. And if you haven't gotten yourself one yet, Bluebird will even sell you a rad power bike. These bikes are so fun. For a blend of expert knowledge, convenience, and a lot of charm, stop in and say hi to Bluebird, the raddest mandatory new stop on your way to Whistler. Lock in and let go with Anon's magnetic face mask integration, built to keep you seamlessly covered from the elements, and Magnatech quick lens change technology that makes swapping lenses effortless even with gloves or mitts on. Enhance contrast and clarity with perceived lenses and get the most accurate perception of the surrounding environment regardless of light and weather conditions. Clarity starts where distraction ends. Full face coverage, complete presence. Check out Anon's helmets, goggles, and MFI face masks at an Anon dealer near you or at AnonOptics.com. Support also comes from the Pro Standard. Ken Achenbach has done it again with the push-button quick release for step-on bindings. Get them at ProStandard.com before they sell out. Pacific Border, Vancouver's premium snow skate and surf shop on West 4th Avenue. Check out PacificBorder.com. And 1910, the collaborative artworks of Jamie Lynn and Scof, two friends on a creative journey together, bonded by their love of art, music, and snowboarding. Go to the number 9teen10.com for their latest collection. We need to thank our friends at Mount Seymour, Grouse Mountain, and Cypress Mountain for their continued support of FNRad, as well as Essential Toothpaste tabs. I love them, I use them, go buy them today. Paul Culling was a pro snowboarder for GNU, Nitro, and then K2 in the 80s and early 90s, whose entrepreneurial spirit started a successful snowboard camp at Mount Seymour, which led to the luxury snowboard brand, which went on to sponsor some heavy hitters like Shane Campos, Lance Mountain, Mark Castonguay, and Derek Scott. I've been after Paul to do an FNRad episode for years, so I was really stoked to sit down with him for this interview at the Burton store on West 4th in Vancouver.
So 86, I think, something like that. Buddy of mine, John Thomas from North Van, he had another guy, Pete, had a board. So he had a 1500 FE or something. So no edges, no high backs, fast X clips, the old fins. And then Pete had a Burton back hill. Whatever,
Back
wood
hill or
base.
backyard.
Wood base. And that one had like the neoprene kind of like flap that you put your foot under with a fast X clip thing going around your ankle
On the back.
and so we would go up to Cypress and go behind the parking lot, and that's the first time I ever snowboarded, and it was like I always remember the feeling of that. Is like it was insane. It hurt. I hurt, but I just wanted to go back. I mean, I spent an inordinate amount of my childhood at Sealand Skate Park. I grew up ski racing. So that we talked the other day about that, and we'll get to that. But so we grew up ski racing, but then I also skateboarded my whole childhood. So this snowboarding thing was just like right in line with what I was doing. So, but we talked about that. So we talked about Dano, who I have a hard time calling him Dano because I know him as Danny, but so Dano and I met when we were 6. Because it was 1976, like that's how old I am. So we met. His parents, Jesse and Jack, had a cabin in Whistler, and then it was like across the street from the cabin my parents bought. And this is back when I mentioned the other day, the Whistler Village was literally the town garbage dump. Like there was no village, there was no Blackcomb, and like when you skied down the north side, you would have to wait for a bus, and you could literally in the spring sit and watch the bears in the dump until the bus came. You got on the bus and it drove you around to the south side.
So would you and Dano ski race together and get on that bus and and
so we ski raced together at the same ski club for 10 years.
Wow.
But we found snowboarding completely independently. We were both like the first time I ever saw Dano in relation to snowboarding is like we were both like Blackcomb allowed snowboarding, because at the beginning none of the mountains did.
Right.
And then you had to get certified to prove that you could get on and off a lift and blah blah blah. It's a bunch of whatever. Everybody was very scared of it at the time.
So actually, I was talking to someone yesterday who told me, how that actually ended. It was somewhere in the States that a skier ran into a certified snowboarder, and the snowboarder sued and said, well, how come that guy's not certified? He fucking ran into me.
Really?
Yeah, and he won $1 million lawsuit is what the guy told me. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Like you think like you're doing one thing, but what you're really actually doing. I argued that up at Cypress when they put a helmet law in effect in the park.
Yeah.
I said, well, you're saying that the park is more dangerous than those trees over there? Like when someone hits their head on a tree.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, well, why didn't I have to have a helmet in there? Why didn't my kid have to have a helmet in there?
Yeah.
He was wearing his helmet in the park, and then he goes in the trees. He, takes his helmet off for that lap and cracks his head. You're in trouble. So anyways, yeah.
So
the certification.
Anyway, so
wow.
Dano and I, we met when we were 6, and it was the funniest story that Dano had told somebody was that Jessie, his mom, fantastic lady, like amazing entrepreneur, like great. Anyways, she had told Dano and Gary that there was 4 kids that moved in across the street at the cabin, and 2 of them were boys and 2 of them were girls. Well, Dano had met my brothers, who were older. So clearly, I was one of the 2 girls, and I said, "No, I'm a boy." And he's like, "No, my mom told me," and he ends up punching me in the nose. So we end up back at Dano's place. Jessie makes us hot chocolate.
As a 6-year-old.
As a 6-year-old, she makes us hot chocolate. Then we became friends for like a long time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, not that sweet. He punched you in the nose, and he thought you were a girl. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. It was like it was in a short amount of time when Dano was still like small, like same size. I was same size as Dano.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Did he get bigger than you, or you got bigger than him?
Well, actually,
of course.
much later I did.
Yeah,
I mean, I played football in high school and got recruited to play football at SFU, and I
Sick.
quit a day before school started to go to Whistler to snowboard.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's kind of Craig Kelly-esque. Like you're picking between school and
Well,
snowboarding?
it wasn't that too tough a choice, dude.
Right.
Right.
Rugby and UBC or
because that was
Whistler and snowboarding.
'88. So then I ended up getting sponsored by GNU through Windline in the U.S.
Where was Windline out of? Seattle?
Seattle. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So how do you meet those guys? That
Through
seems
Murray
crazy.
and Paul.
So they were distributing GNU.
They were distributing GNU. They decided to take me down to Mount Hood. So we piled in the Suburban.
Yep.
And drove to Mount Hood in the summer. And that was a little bit hair-raising because I didn't know these guys. And they're like super kind of jock, hockey player, bros. And I really, and we're sleeping in the Suburban, like in the way down. So I didn't know what was happening. But anyways, all is well that ends well. But the coolest part about that trip was we stopped at like Samish and went scurfing. And I'd never heard of it. So we went scurfing. I had a friend. They had a friend had a boat and a house there, and we went scurfing. And so that whole trip, we went down. I met the Windline crew. I got hooked up. I got a contract with Windline, so I was being sponsored directly out of the U.S.
Yeah.
But that whole trip, Murray, Paul, and I were talking about this scurfer and how lame it was, and how because it had the fabric straps like that old Burton backhill, right? But a little bit worse.
Yeah.
And so, we were talking about why wouldn't you have a twin tip? Why wouldn't you have like water ski bindings? Why couldn't it be made like a modern water ski? And like, why wouldn't you call it like you could call it wakeboarding? And so on the way back up, we stopped at
Herb
O'Brien's place, and we pitched it. And so we had like napkins and drawings, and from what I understand, Paul still has all those napkins and those drawings in a book.
Yeah.
And we pitched it to him. We pitched this thing we called wakeboarding. We pitched it, and he laughed at us. Because he's like, that would never work. The liability of having like a 2 feet strapped to one board in a water ski boot, it can never happen. Wow. And he laughed at us.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess at the time water skiing didn't have double boots going on or something.
Well, no, they did on slalom skis.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah, or maybe I assume they did.
Maybe they had a kick plate on the back at that time, whatever.
But anyways, it was just sort of like one of those random things.
Yeah, you're like, you guys are all excited. You're like, hey, we've revolutionized your thing. And he laughs and goes, that
won't ever happen.
Yeah, and then flash forward 5 years, it's like, it's called wakeboarding.
Yeah.
It's a neutrally buoyant board. They become twin tips.
Yeah.
Like
wide
the whole thing, and the double boots. The whole thing.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
Yeah. So
you're
anyways,
just too early.
So whatever.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So the Windline connection. So when you were with GNU, did you ever meet with Mike and Pete?
No, because that was the first time I met with Mike and Pete was when we pitched Luxury to them with me and Chris Jameson.
So Jameson was like on GNU. He was like one of their main guys on GNU.
Yeah, and so he knew Mike and Pete, and so I dealt with the Windline crew and with Amy. She was like a big part of that thing.
Right.
And then when I got moved from summer of 1990, I think I got moved to, because that video I showed you. So summer of 1990, I got moved to Nitro because that was also a Windline thing that Windline was distributing. So that's when I met Tommy DeLago and the crew at Hood, and we were testing the boards, and he was like, why do you have your stance so wide? What is this duck foot? You're crazy. Next time I'll put the inserts on the very tips and tails. And he was still very Euro at the time, I think.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's on that Fusion board.
Yeah. Which was a sick board, by the way, at the time.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. At that time, you actually have access to two of the best boards in the world. The GNU Concept was actually insane. And that was made by Mike and Pete. That wasn't a Windline thing.
No, it was. So the Concept was made by Mike and Pete in Seattle.
Yeah.
The Vertigo, which was geometrically a killer board, but it just was made at Pele or however you pronounce it, and it was like there's no ABS sidewalls, so they just blew out.
Yeah. It was
so
a
as long as you
foam
could
board.
keep getting
Yeah.
more for
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
that was an awesome board.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a foam board. It's
Foam
called
board side
rim
wall-to-wall.
reaction injection molding construction. So they put like a little thin wood core, the top sheet and the base. I don't know how they do the inserts. No inserts, right? You had to direct mount those things.
They did have inserts in those.
Did they? Oh,
so
that's
they
cool.
must have had like a strip down the middle.
Retention
I
plate or
was not
something.
interested in how they were made at the time.
Yeah, they blew out though,
Yeah.
because they just shoot this foam in, it shoots out the sides, you trim it, now you have a snowboard. Yeah.
So I moved from GNU to Nitro, rode for them for a bit. Like I said, that fusion of that Pyro was such a sick
Pyro
board.
is like 3 years early in like twin tip, maybe 2 years early, like twin tip, like with those shots of you on the Pyro. I got to take pictures of them and put them in here. Like, dude, that's legit snowboarding in that, at that time.
At that time,
huge.
Well, that's the funny thing is, you look at what 7-year-olds can do now, and it's like, wow. so then I moved from Nitro to K2, riding for K2, and so that was another sick board, dude. That XTC Dan Donnelly board,
still good.
It was such an awesome board, and so that was a cool trip. I got to do Alaska with K2 with Tex, and I don't know who else. I don't know if it was Berger or somebody. It was for Transworld.
That's
but
amazing.
Anyways, that was a sick trip. And then from K2, I don't know where I went from K2. Maybe that was straight to luxury, but I had started the snowboard camps up at Mount Seymour.
So what year do you start the snowboard camps up there? Do you know?
No, it would have been like 91, maybe.
That's so early.
90 something, because I spent the 88, 89 season in Whistler.
Yep.
And then the 89, 90 season is when I was pitching it, and maybe that's the year. So I don't know when the year of the first Camp of Champions was, the first snowboard camp on the glacier, but it was that a year after, because I was like, why aren't there winter snowboard camps?
Right.
And why aren't there camps for adults? So those were the very first winter snowboard camps anywhere in the world, and the first adult ones anywhere in the world.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then we had coaches like, that at any normal time you'd be like, why do you have these dirtbag coaches? And that would be me included.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But Kearns was an awesome coach, both for the kids and the adults.
Right.
And Kearns,
Jameson.
Dano, Jameson came up. I had other people come up in the
Estes
States.
or someone?
I can't remember. See, I was trying to remember, and I can't like at my
1990 is 36 years ago. Dude.
I know, dude.
That's insane.
Well, yeah.
36 years ago.
36 years ago.
In 90 or 91, I went to Wendell's camp.
Yeah.
Because Tim Wendell was on Checker Pig, and he did a demo.
Checker Pig.
Yeah, he did a
God,
demo
those
for
things were
Checker Pig.
tanks.
Yeah, they were crazy.
Yeah,
they were crazy.
And just such a terrible name.
Oh, the worst.
The worst.
Absolutely the worst. Remember their ads like Fly Pig Fly or something
I don't know.
It was insane stuff.
Yeah.
But I rode the chairlift with him and told him I was going to Craig Kelly's camp at Blackcomb. And he said, why would you do that? That one sucks. Come to my camp.
Wow.
And then I went and told my parents, like, I've been invited to this pro guy's camp. I got to go. It was $4.99 for a full week, 7 days on snow, U.S.
Yeah.
$499.
Yeah.
So my parents paid half, I paid half. I was so stoked.
So when we would go down there was one year where we were able to stay with Wendell, ride his pipe, as long as we cleaned the bathrooms and the showers.
Yep.
That lasted like a few days.
Yep.
And then we went, I think we still stayed there. We just never did anything. And then we would go, and Jameson lived in Bend, so we would go down into Bend. And
sick.
So that was cool.
Is that the connection to Morrow, or is that later on?
No, that was later. I don't know how we got
something.
connected for the website stuff.
Right.
So that was when the Morrow owned West Beach.
Okay.
And
it's way later. Right.
And it's way later.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly how I got hooked up with Trevor to do that website. But
do you
it was
know how
cool.
you got hooked up with West Beach? Like, so you and Ross are the first couple of snowboard riders. Did they? At the time, they had just stopped doing volleyball, hadn't they? It was something like that.
I mean, they're probably still doing it. So it used to be that West Beach had a little shop over here. It was the Little House.
The Little House, yeah.
Right? And then I don't know. So the one thing for me was I was never I was never built for snowboarding.
What do you mean?
I had a big dude,
Okay.
I'm not as big as I am when I'm this old, but, and I was fit, but I was strong on the snow because of the 13 years of ski racing and stuff like that. But I was really good at marketing myself and the business side and coming. So I don't know how I ended up.
Dude, those photos, you're epic. Like those are,
okay.
If you get good, no. If you get good shots,
right.
Anyways, I think what I'm hearing is that you're saying you're a bigger dude. All these guys are little athletes or little skinny,
and you look at guys like the style, right? Like if you ask me favorite snowboarder of all time to ride with is Alex Warburton.
Cool.
Sick. Castengay, sickest style.
Right.
Sheen, epic, free rider. And there's I could go on and on and on, but I just don't. I tried. It's sort of like I've always thought if I ever wrote a book, it'd be something like on the edge of cool or almost cool or something. Because I've always been able to I'm cool adjacent, right? So I hung around with really good pro snowboarders and pro skaters and whatever, and they allowed me to hang out. But that's how I sort of felt.
I understand.
I'm a terrible imposter syndrome guy.
Sure.
With everything, but I mean I don't think it's that. But anyways, so I don't know exactly how I got hooked up with West Beach, but it was. I mean that lasted. The West Beach thing lasted through a couple years into luxury.
Well, I thought for some reason I just have eliminated everybody else, and I thought West Beach was Chip, so if you were on the West Beach team, then somehow you met Chip and Chip said, hey, be on the West Beach team, but there were four owners, right?
Yeah, so it could have been, it might have been Chip, but it was more likely Marco.
Okay.
So and Marco really was the beating heart of especially the team and that stuff, and he is an amazing guy. Like I said to you earlier, he has had more impact on me personally from a business and life perspective than probably any other person.
And
he mentored me. I stayed with him in Bellingham. He helped me with my business. He and he was he's just he's a long line of amazing human beings that I've met through snowboarding.
Rad.
Yeah.
And what was his background? Where did he come into his entrepreneurship or whatever?
I don't know how he ended up with because I don't know how the beginnings of where it was Chip and Marco and Scott and Richard. I don't know how that happened. I don't know if one person owned most and the others owned a little. I don't know any about that.
Right.
But they all have very complementary skills, and I think that's one of the things that probably Chip has done really well in his life is surrounding himself with people that are really good at stuff that he doesn't really care about or isn't good at or whatever.
That's
right?
a smart entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean
right
that's what people have to do, and so.
Yeah, because you got to build a team that can do all the things. Yeah. So. I remember when he was starting Lululemon. Well, I remember a lot of stuff about it. It just seemed kooky, first of all. It's still on 4th. It's way up the hill. Yeah. And it had affirmations on the wall and stuff. It was all this yoga stuff. So we're going well, this is not even snowboard adjacent at all. Yeah. We couldn't see how it was even related in any way.
But he saw an opportunity. And
he did, yeah.
He kind of capitalized on it. I think he did okay. Right?
Yeah, I mean his quarterly reports probably showed during the heyday he did all right.
He did okay.
He did so all right that it's still doing all right. I don't even know if he's a part of it at all.
Well, he's a single largest shareholder.
Still in Lululemon.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, which is it's not a huge percent. It's just because it's a public company, it's so spread out.
Yeah.
But I think between him personally, and then other foundations and stuff, I think he controls. A big. I don't know. I just remember reading an article about it recently about that.
Oh, that's cool. One of the things that fascinated me about you is there are different people that have come into my life. Rob Dow's one of them, and where you have a technical savviness that is necessary for running, the business of a snowboard company that most people just wouldn't even know where to start. Like computers so early on. Like,
Well,
and,
yeah, it's
and
funny.
art direction and that kind of stuff. Like, well, yeah,
Well, art direction may be used loosely, but
sure.
anyways, yeah, no, but the computer stuff. So my back, like family's always been in sort of like IT-ish kind of thing before it was called IT, and I've always been super interested in computers, and so I bought my first computer for luxury. It would cost me $18,500.
Did they have financing for it at the time, or did you have to pay
I
up
had
front?
to pay it.
Oh my
Right?
God!
And so the 96 meg of RAM was $3,500 US. Right. So this thing, it was like it was penny 90 before they fixed a math problem in it, and then it had an NEC 17-inch monitor that would like cover this entire desk, and a big like full high res scanner.
So
Illustrator
megabytes there's 1,000 megabytes in a gig?
1,024.
In a gig?
In a gig.
So like you can get a gigabyte card now for $9, $5 or something?
I've got like a tiny little, it looks like this size of my little magnetic wallet thing.
Yep.
It's like about 4 or 5 credit cards deep, and the outside is the size of a credit card.
Yep.
I've got one of those, and it's like, I don't know, it's 3 terabytes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
which is a million times.
So it's
1,024
megabytes in a gigabyte, 1,024 gigabytes in a terabyte.
Oh my God! Yeah. So at the time, you're paying $3,500 for nothing, for no memory.
Well, but then it was massive.
Yeah.
Right. And I never went. So your choices at that time to buy, because I wanted to do graphic design stuff for my 4-color print media and stuff. So you could do Silicon Graphics, SGI, which was like crazy expensive, or maybe or Max, which was less crazy expensive, or the PC was my 18.5 was the affordable choice. And so the Illustrator and Photoshops came on like 40 diskettes each, and the worst part is like the 3.5-inch diskettes, you get like 12 in installing it, and they would have a failure.
Oh God!
And then you have to go back to the beginning.
No.
And so, but that was cool because I had a place. I had a ground floor over here in Kitts, like 3rd and McDonald.
Yep.
And so Jay Gunsick was working for West Beach at the time, and so he would come over every once in a while. We'd drink beers and learn how to use Illustrator.
Amazing.
Or I would say we're learning how to use Illustrator. He's mostly teaching me how to use Illustrator.
Cool.
And Cork Express for layout and stuff like that. And so I super dug doing that stuff.
It's fun. You're doing the same things that we're doing now. Graphic overlays, pictures, drawings, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like you're
a lot harder.
You're the first people to do it, and it's probably crashing out all the time, like you're saying. You make a change, and then you go to make another change. You didn't save it. Now you don't get that first change.
But like on the art design, I was always mediocre at like layout and design and all that kind of stuff. It's like guys like Jay and who are professionals, like my buddy John.
Yeah.
They just know, and you
design,
can tell between what I produce and what a professional produces, right? But I get the job done.
Right, and also at the time of luxury, it's almost anti-professional. Right?
Yeah.
Burton had been doing professional stuff for years, and it was like design firms from New York, and they're doing splatter graphics and weird, things that are iconic to us, right? Like the brushy fish or things like that, which are super sick. Yeah. But there were a lot of misses in those early days because they're not doing it themselves. It's not hands-on. Jake's not like also a graphic designer, also running the computer, also like. He's hiring people to do these things. Yeah. So you did everything for your
Well, and I had people like, so I didn't actually, so some of the graphic stuff I did, but a lot of it I would buy from artists or whatever, and then do the scanning and all this stuff. But like the original ones, like the original Chrome luxury logo, and then the watch, the Rolex watch, and the $1,000 bill, and the hot rod engine. That was all done by a guy named Ron Fielder, who is a graphic artist for a company called Action Athletic Wear, over on 4th that I worked for in the early days, and that guy Cal who owned that place, his kids now run it. Like he is one of the kind of foundational reasons why I was able to start luxury.
Oh, that's so cool.
So like,
yeah, when does the idea for luxury start to happen?
So it's during the camps, and so I think the last year of the camps, those camps are an interesting topic because, so there's a guy named Chris Carter who was he's a financial services guy now, but he was some kind of manager on the mountain, and I convinced him to let me do these camps up there, and they were amazing. I mean, when you think back to the original camps, I don't know if half the original skids were in the camp as campers.
Sick,
right?
Sick.
Like, I don't know how many of those guys that ended up becoming pro snowboarders or nearly pro snowboarders ended up starting in those camps.
That's amazing.
That was cool. And so during the camp, one of the last ones, we'd get different companies to sponsor for boards so people could try them. And Sims, like Gailey Nagel, was super supportive. So we had a bunch of Sims boards, which all got stolen, but that's another story. Off the top of my truck,
right?
The night before the camp started,
somebody cut your
tulip box off.
Yeah. That's just
12 boards gone between like midnight and like 6 a.m.
So somebody who knew that you had those boards, because it's not we're not seeing random Thule boxes being cut off of cars ever. Yeah. Somebody who knew. Yeah. There's like an inside job somewhere. And this is up in the mean
streets of Upper North Vancouver, by the way.
Yeah. And
at my mom's house.
Did you ever sleuth into it and see some
I knew exactly. I never got them back, but we found out who did it, and he was a bad dude.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we didn't go any further. But
that's it. It's were you able to claim it on insurance? You probably could have.
I can't even remember. I think they just I think Sims had insurance for it. I got the box back. They found the box in like blocks and blocks away.
Wild. Yeah. That is so wild.
So,
well,
anyways,
so before we get to the graphics, let's go back to the start of these camps. I think we should tell the story of the camps. Had you been to a summer camp at that point?
I hadn't been. I'd been around. I think it was the Camp of Champions, the first one up on the Blackcomb Glacier.
Okay.
And that's when I was saying, like,
which is Ken Ock and the snowboard shop guys. Are just
all those guys
are just starting to make a camp, and they're coming up with this concept of, if we invite the best pros in the world to be the coaches,
right,
then we will be able to sell spots. I guess maybe it was never about the money. I guess
no, dude, it was about, so all of that stuff back then was all about, like, it wasn't about I'm going to get rich.
Right.
It was about how can I continue to afford doing what I'm doing and not have to go get a different job. Because remember, like, 99% of snowboarders couldn't live off of snowboarding.
Oh, of course not.
Pro riders.
Right.
So it was all side hustles.
Yeah, because there's a Camp of Champions probably started on its own, but Tim Wendell and Craig Kelly were both on the Sims team when they went to Jose Fernandez's camp in Europe.
Right.
And then they talked and said, we should do one of these in North America. And there was a joint Wendell and Craig camp on Blackcomb before he moved down there.
So maybe that's the one it was, because that was where, like, it's funny because that's where you got to spend some time with Craig and Kelly Joe, and I got like this crazy Burton race board from him, and he was selling a board he had made. Burton made him that was for sandboarding. It had like a Teflon base.
Whoa!
And then I got, I think he must have rode for Look at one point.
He certainly did.
And so he had this Look jacket that was a bomber jacket that was like super sick jacket, just super ugly colors, like typical like kind of look. Like, I don't know what the artist's name is, but it's a certain style, French kind of like. Anyways, never mind. So that jacket I got from Craig, and that's the jacket I brought to Marco and Chip and West Beach and said, you need to make a jacket like this, but not ugly.
And they reverse engineered it.
And they took it. They inspired the B-2 bomber jacket.
The bomber jacket,
Yeah,
which
which
is like
is-
the OG amazing.
Yeah, so that's where the B-2 bomber jacket came from.
Wow.
Is inspired out of that look jacket.
That's insane. That's
yeah.
amazing.
So we're sorry we're cutting like all over.
No,
the place.
we aren't. No, that's
Yeah.
it. So so that if you were at that Camp of Champions, or that would have been Craig Kelly camp, right?
Craig Kelly
right,
camp.
right.
I think it was a Craig Kelly camp maybe, because it would have been I don't know what year. It would have been 91 maybe, 90 something like that. I don't know which
it's got to
it was.
be earlier than that even.
Yeah.
Because
way.
Wendell is down in. Right, Wendell is down in Mount Hood, I think, in 1990. I think
Yeah.
that's when that happens, in 91.
Oh yeah, it must
Yeah.
have been because that was I was riding for Nitro, so that would have been 90.
Yeah.
Is when the first camps happened.
Yeah.
And
Dope.
so I just convinced Chris to allow me to do it. And
How old are you at that time? Like,
well, I would have been 1990. I would have been 20.
so
you
you're
know?
a 20-year-old kid. You're
Yeah.
like seeing these guys do these camps. You're like, we could do one here at Seymour.
Yeah,
Good
I was
spot.
because I spent the winter at Whistler, and most people go for like they take a gap year, go
Yeah.
to Whistler, and it turns into a gap decade
Yes.
or a gap lifetime.
Gap
right?
life. Yeah, totally.
And so I wanted to come back, and I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I had already started making snowboard products. So back then, you just use standard Sorel boots with a ski boot liner in it,
Yep.
and your boots would always slip out of the heel cup because just they're crap. So I made blocks that would go on the heel of your boot. You screw them into the heel of your boot, and then that would hook underneath your base plate so that when you lean forward, it would pull the base plate up.
So around the heel cup of the under the heel cup of the base
It would
plate?
go under the heel cup of the base plate, and so you would screw it into the sole of your boot.
Wouldn't that just tear the sole
Oh, eventually,
right off
yes,
the
it
boot?
absolutely did. But so I would go to Kevin Harris, who had like about 8 million skateboard rails, because at that time nobody would touch them.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
I buy them a penny on a dollar, bring them home, cut them into lengths, warm them in the oven, my mom's oven, strap them to a PVC pipe that had the same curvature as most boots, and drill them and countersink them, put a couple screws in,
Oh
put them
my
in baby
God.
bottle bags, photocopy like a little like label thing and staple it and sell it out of like the snowboard shop in different places.
That's amazing. I think there are years of Burton boots where they have a ridge on the
Yeah, it was the
boot.
built-in. Basically,
Built-in.
that was
Yeah.
that was after what we were doing, and so they were like, oh, we could just build this into the.
That's
heel.
interesting. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
so-
really cool.
And we made scrapers, like snowboard wide scrapers. I say I
yeah,
did.
yeah. The very first like width of a snowboard
Yeah,
scraper.
Yeah, because my brother was in the plastics technology course at BCIT, and so he was able to get me plexiglass, didn't know how to cut it, and then a guy named Orion, who I met through Kearns, had a screen printing thing, so he showed me how to screen print them, and that back then that was called Meat Bat Snowboard Products, and name was courtesy of Kearns. Not exactly family friendly. So by the time I went to do the snowboard camps, I actually incorporated a company, because that was all just like sole proprietorship. I incorporated a company for liability because it's a snowboard camp.
Smart.
And it was called New Name Snowboard Productions.
I remember New Name. Yeah.
Well, and it was only New Name because I couldn't think of a different name.
Couldn't think of a new name.
Yeah, it was super like lazy.
Well, you're not gonna do Meat Bat
No.
snowboard
No.
camps.
No, adults aren't coming to the Meat Bat camp, or people that want to send their children to the Meat Bat snowboard camp.
New Name's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
Everything was new school at that time.
Yeah.
Remember, like stuff
Yeah,
was
yeah,
coming
yeah.
new school, or are you old school or new school?
So then I did, back then, so at the time I did the camps, I also did some shirts, New Name Presents, and it was like I did a brushy shirt of him doing a stale fish.
When I started at the boardroom, we had the shirts.
Yeah.
The New Name shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's brushy, and
That's why I
Warburton
know.
doing a Crail.
There was a
and
Warburton
me
one.
doing a Japan Air.
So there were 3 different shirts.
There was 3 different shirts.
That's insane, dude. That's so rad.
Yeah. So we did the
Look at that lineup. You, Warbs, and Brush.
Yeah. One of these
Wow.
things is not the same.
No way. Come on. That's dope, dude.
The only reason I had it is because I made it. So anyways.
Sure. That's dope, man.
So anyways, so we're doing the camps. The camps were really successful. I mean, I probably didn't price them right. I probably didn't make enough money, but you know, it was super fun to do.
It wasn't about the money, like you're saying.
I got to pay all my friends to come do it. Right?
Rad,
I don't know what I paid them a day.
Sure.
But it was worth them coming.
But enough for them to be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll coach this. How many years do you do the camps? 2 or 3? 3 years.
Yeah.
And so I can just imagine an early Seymour where. Oh, yeah, that also gives you an excuse to build, like, kind of cool new features and have, like, a spot where, like, hey, we're doing a camp. We need some cat time to make it something.
There was nothing of that.
Nothing. You just rode the side hits at Seymour.
Yeah.
Which would have been more of a park than anything anywhere else anyways. Yeah.
So it was riding the chairlift with Jameson where we came up with the idea of making luxury snowboards. So we went down to the old plant in Seattle, the old little factory, not the one in Ballard, the one closer to the highway, and met with Mike and Pete. And so the pitch was, Mervyn, Mike and Pete had just gotten the GNU name back from Windline.
Yep.
Right? So they'd already started LibTech, and they'd just gotten the GNU name back. So their idea was that LibTech was going to be their core shop brand, and GNU was going to be their low-cost, big-box store brand. But, of course, anything they touch is super fucking cool.
Yeah.
So, like, that was a failure in that it wasn't going to be a super cheap brand, but they didn't know that then.
Right.
So the pitch was, they had the Dukester, the Pharaoh, and the General Joe. General Joe was the asymmetrical freestyle board.
Yep.
Whatever board. And the pitch was, we're going to do different graphics, same board, skate inspired, and we're going to charge more money for them.
Yeah, sick.
And
but
different tape. The only thing we could modify, because clearly I had $5,000 to start this company.
Yeah.
And so all we could do was change the shape of the tip and tail, which was huge at the time to make them look way better. In my mind.
Sure.
And so they thought that was the most hilarious idea ever. They were laughing and they totally dug it. And so they're like, yeah, totally cool. So I think I spent an order for like 10 or 12 boards or something like that. Or, you know, and it was
and you name it luxury.
And I name it luxury, and I have the guy. So I go back, and this is where, like, you know, everything I've ever done has been supported by everybody around me. Like, it's through the kind of grace of all of the friendships and support I get from anybody, right? So anyways, Jameson decided he didn't really want to be part of it. So
you didn't
I
have
just
$5,000, probably.
Well, no, I mean he didn't. It was just so the funny thing is so I went to my stepdad, who's like quite a wealthy guy, and I said with a business plan, and I'd kill to see that business plan now. It would be such a joke, but I said, this is about my investment. He said no, and then he called me months later and said, he was living in San Francisco at the time, and he said the North Shore Credit Union called me, and I have a RRSP there that I didn't know about, and it's for $5,000. I'll use that as a guarantee for a line of credit, so you can borrow the money from the bank.
Oh wow!
And then learn how to use a bank. And of course, being the little a-hole that I was like, oh my God, what a dick! Like,
right,
you know, like,
right.
He's not even. He has the money. He won't lend it to me.
It is a bit of a dick move.
Well, but
from one perspective.
Yeah, but in retrospect, like, I totally get what he was doing.
It's the smart move.
Yeah, like
to teach you how to use a line of credit. Of course. Yeah, it's not just a gift.
You're right. So, anyways, I've reconciled that long ago.
Sure. I had the same. Not to throw you off course here, but I had the same experience, but with a lemonade stand with my kids when they were like 7 and 8.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, look, you guys are doing really well. They set up a lemonade stand outside of the farmers market, and they're making about $100 an hour, right? So I got them the lemon squeezy press, and they were cute little kids, and people are going, and we got them proper cups, And they're making these, and it was by whatever price you want to pay. So some people would pay a quarter, like cool people would pay $5 sometimes. Like, wow, this is so cute. So then I was like, well, we got to take some of the money and buy more cups and buy more lemons and stuff. And they were like, what a dick. Like, well, that's our money. We made that money. Why is your dad getting this money? And I was trying to tell them why and explain that to a 7-year-old. That's like, how is that $400 not my $400? I'm like, well, put some in the bank, pay yourselves $15 an hour. That's more than the guy at Subway's making.
Right.
And then when you have a rainy day when you don't sell anything, you're still making money.
And then they're like, no, Dad, I need a cost of living. You know, I need
they just were like, look,
not
Dad,
cost of living, the living wage.
Living wage. They said, Dad, this is how it works.
Right.
There's 3 of us. There's $400. You divide 400 by 3, and we each get $133. That's how it goes.
Okay.
I'm like, well, the material costs and all that. They're like, we made this 400 anyways. So it's the same move.
Yeah.
And you're mad. But you get the money.
But I get the money. So I went to that guy Cal from Action Athletic Wear, and I had worked for him in summers and different things, and so he was such a cool guy. So he allowed me to, his graphic artist Ron did my graphics for me, and then he did the embroidery of the hats and the screen printing of the shirts, and then gave me 60, 90-day terms.
Right? That's the best thing in business.
I was going to come to Marco at West Beach and other shop owners that I knew around the province, and they would pay COD.
Sick.
And so I got cash in my jeans. So then I can go to Mervyn and pay COD for the few boards that I've got. And then I bring the boards here, and then they pay COD for the boards. And then I take that cash and I can pay for the delivery of the bindings, because the bindings were a much larger number of bindings.
Did you do Duratec rotators?
Yeah.
Yeah. And screen printed on the
Nashua,
back?
New Hampshire.
With the low backs. You were one of the first on the low backs, right? Yeah.
And so... Yeah. So
what were the minimums there? That was the thing. Was that the minimums were high?
The minimums were higher with them, and so I ended up, I think I was it was 12 or something boards in the beginning, and that was supposed to be just a test year. Yeah. And then I ended up doing I think I sold $30,000 worth of stuff that first year.
Damn.
And the largest, the best year I did was 1.6 million in snowboard gear. In 7 countries, and I spent it as quickly as I could get it. It was
cost of doing business, or you were just you were living like a fat cat.
A little bit of both.
Sick.
I had a boat. I was like, hey, I want a boat, so I went and bought a brand new boat, and I had a
boat.
And it's so we remember going out with Sheen and a bunch of people in the boat, and then I had a 4Runner, I think, and I took it in for service, and I drove away in a little Celica GTS or Celica GTS.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh shit, I can't tow my boat or go snowboarding really well.
Right.
So I had to go buy another truck. So it's not great.
Yeah, but you're young.
Yeah, I'm young.
You're 25
and stupid.
Or something.
20. Yeah. Well, I was that time. Yeah, I was probably when I was really it was really big. It was probably I think I was 24, 25.
It's unreal.
And traveling to Japan
and
different places.
You don't have a bunch of partners you've taken on. You haven't taken an equity partner with your stepdad. None of this.
None of it.
It's just all of the profit goes into your bank account.
Yeah.
Or your corporate account. And then you're spending it as a business expense, so you don't have to pay tax on it. All that stuff. You knew all that as a 25-year-old
Well, no,
kid?
I knew that the first my mom would do the books because she was a bookkeeper, and then I had an actual accountant.
Yep.
And I'm spending money sending riders to Chile and Europe to go snowboarding.
Of course.
And I'm like, why am I not going to Chile and Europe to snowboard?
Right. Right.
Like, what the hell?
So did you go, or did you? You're like,
no, it ruined it. To be honest, it didn't ruin it, but it was hard.
Yeah.
So we built that up with Mervyn and those guys. I mean, Pete, Mike, There's a guy named Chris Crittenden there who's like a shop floor manager or something. And Randy, their business guy.
Oh, yeah, Randy.
Copeland, I think his name
Randy
was.
Copeland,
like,
yeah.
Just how could you luck into working with people as an idiot young person like that were so cool and so nice and so supportive and like that it was amazing.
Yeah, I was thinking this morning about companies that made it, and then I was like, wait a minute, what is made it, right? Because Nidecker's still going from then.
Yeah, but that's part of a much larger thing,
Nitro's
right?
still going from then.
Yeah.
But then so is Ride, and then I'm like, but wait, Ride's been kind of bought and sold, and Mike and Pete are still at Mervyn. So
Mike and Pete sold it to Quicksilver for
right.
a while, but then I think they bought it back. I
don't
really know anything about it.
Equity
I think
partners
they got it back.
bought it, but they needed them to run it, and then those equity partners were. They were an investment firm who usually buys stuff and flips it, and then it took 10 years for them to sell it, which was not great for, you know what I mean? They looked at it and thought, oh, this is going to really make us a ton of money. And those guys, Mike and Pete, I don't know but the attitude that I get from them is, oh, the money thing's not really my thing.
No, it never was.
Mike told me that they were making tons of money during the heyday of those Jamie Lynn boards or something like around that time. Yeah. And his wife was like, how come your furniture's made out of milk crates and 2x10s, you know? And he was like, because I like that. That's fine with me. I don't need. She's like, well, you could afford a couch, you know, or something like that, kind of. And he goes, really?
Mike is such a mad scientist.
Yeah.
Like he's just like the guy who. I mean, you think about a guy who can like engineer and build snowboard presses from scratch,
right?
And comes up, him working with, and I don't know who comes up with what, but like, yes, everything from magnet traction to like the banana board to like all this crazy shit.
Yeah, like side cut. Yeah. So you've got at the time.
Oh yeah, you've got like planks.
Yeah,
and then you've got side cut.
Yeah.
Now if those anti-gravities could actually flex, that would have been better.
It would have been better, but it definitely changed everything.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, you've got engineers that are working at Rossi. There's like 100 of them in a team, and they probably have heard this, and they probably hate that I'm saying it, but they didn't come up with an 8-meter side cut on a snowboard. Well, no. Mike and Pete did.
Well, I know, and the crazy thing is that when we skied, it was like the early days of snowboarding from a side cut perspective. Mm-hmm. The new skis, the shape skis now, super deep side cut. I remember being at a Vancouver ski show and swap, back in the ski racing days, and we'd go to all the booths and stuff, and had this like little aluminum ski that had super crazy exaggerated side cut and crazy camber, and so you'd put your fingers on it and it would carve, and I'm like, I always thought like, well, why don't they make skis like that?
Yeah.
And that's basically what shape skis are, but that was like 20 years before shape skis. And it's like, why didn't anybody put that together, which is what Mike and Peter did.
That's exactly what Mike and Pete did. And I mean, I've talked with the guy I rode with up Whistler on Friday, Riley Johnson, told me that he went to take a lesson. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're like someone I look up to in the backcountry. You've been a great snowboarder. You ran the park at Grouse 30 years ago. Like, what are you talking about taking a lesson? And he was just talking about, like, I always like just fish, turn, slide my tail. I want to learn how to carve. And Pete and Mike got the bug for that in the 80s at some point, like 88 maybe, when they did the first side cuts. Or maybe even earlier.
Yeah, I don't know.
They just were obsessed with the carve.
But the funny thing is that first snowboard I ever had my own, the 1710 blade.
Yeah.
So it was a present from my biological father, and a Christmas present. And he said, "There's two boards. There's a GNU and a Sims. And I said, "It has to be the Sims. I don't want that GNU, because I knew it to be like, super stiff, stiff, So he brought it up from Boston, and we were at Christmas, and the box, he put it inside the GNU box.
Oh, nice.
And moves. I was like, and then I found the picture of me pulling it out of the box, the Sims board. And I was like, and then I've never told Mike or Peter that story.
That's so funny. Like, well, you have now. They sometimes listen to the show. That's so amazing.
But anyway.
Well, Sims as a skateboarder just was something that you knew. I remember not knowing how to say GNU And really, the G is supposed to be silent. In the English word, it's new.
Right.
But that's not what they wanted.
No.
They put the udders on the front of the thing. I don't even know what the hell. They were just being silly.
Yeah.
They were being hilarious.
They were like being silly, like, yeah, we'll make boards for you just because this sounds like a funny thing to do.
Right. And you had that. So we just went through the luxury history, and you had that same vibe. Like you're
There
like,
sort of
I'm gonna,
irreverence
everything is going to be tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, so we did like the first ever amateur model, the Derek Scott amateur model.
Yep.
And then we, at one point, all of the snowboard companies, it was, if you were a cool company, you'd have like a pro skater turned pro snowboarder. Sure. And so I thought John I needed to get that. Yeah. So I talked to Kevin Harris, and who talked to Lance Mountain, who may or may not have snowboarded at all at that point. And so I got in touch with Lance, and I said, this is what I want to do. I want to, it seems like you have to have a pro snowboarder as a pro skater as a pro snowboarder. So I want you. And he thought that was hilarious. So he sent me his original Veriflex graphics from his first ever pro skateboard model, and that's what was on the board as in the old, big ass shape that it was in the middle of the deck, and then everything else was white. Yeah. Right. And then
amazing.
So, I did a little bit too much of sort of inside baseball marketing. Sure. Where like industry people would get it, like the Blunt magazine lets us advertise is all I said in Transworld, because at the time Blunt was the coolest thing going, and you had to be a cool company or they wouldn't let you advertise. Right. So like I said, well, I'm so cool they'll let me advertise, which like some industry insiders thought was like one of the best ads they'd ever seen. Mind you, the average person is like, what the hell? They're
flipping through it. It just goes from one page to the next. I
basically advertised Blunt magazine.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then a little luxury snowboards at the bottom.
Little tiny luxury snowboards at the bottom.
But that was kind of the thing. Yeah. Like, because I can remember, I'm going to say Devin, but lots of pro snowboarders. Jason Ford. Jason Ford gets a, designed ride board from some graphic designer with spark plugs on it, and he just goes to the store and gets gold spray paint and spray paints the top gold. And so so the snowboarders were saying less marketing, put less, just put a little thing that just says the name of the company, tiny. Yeah. Somewhere where the binding goes over it even.
I mean, that was like sort of the skate inspired thing where the hats would have like just like a little tiny logo here, it wasn't plastered.
Just a hit, yeah, there were hats that had nothing on the front.
Yeah,
that just had a little thing on the back.
Yeah. I could never afford to do the numbers to do ProFit caps.
Right.
Mine had to be like the kind you buy the hat and then embroider it, so it's never quite as cool.
So it's got the clicky backs or whatever. You've got
or you could do the stretchy ones. But the main thing is that the hats that you actually embroider before the hat's made. Right. That's the dope shit.
Those are sick. Yeah. So you knew but you're just putting that in your portfolio, like, oh, maybe we'll do that next year when we do 2.6 million in sales or whatever.
Yeah, but what happens is that in that 96, 97 time frame, the market just gets like massively saturated by people with a lot of money and not a lot of sense coming in. Yeah. They're buying up all of the inventory, all of the production time at Pelé and all of the different places, and they're just flooding the market with garbage product. Right. Or product that's like just, it's just cheap.
Mediocre or whatever.
Inexpensive. And so my reps or myself are calling shops saying, like, hey, how are you doing for a reorder? And they're like, well, we've sold through your stuff, but we have so much of this other stuff we have to sell, so we just can't buy anymore. Right. And so I looked at that and I thought, this, like, I guess this was 96, 97. And I looked at that and I said, well, I could spend the next 4 or 5 years pouring my own money back into this,
struggling and petering out or something.
And at that time I'd also moved to Redmond, Washington.
Oh,
Opened
wow.
a warehouse there.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, so that I could control my U.S. distribution.
Yeah, because is that where it was the biggest out of the U.S.?
Well, it was because Mervyn was in Ballard,
It's right there.
So we were right there, and the other than Japan, that was my biggest market, was the U.S.
So Japan was it always the biggest market?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was always the biggest market. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean those were those years for
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
Japan was the biggest
Yeah,
market.
so you had the Japanese distributor do the line of credit directly to the manufacturer.
Amazing.
So the manufacturer says, okay, yeah, we're covered in case you can never pay us anything. We're covered.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And so I looked at that, and then I found this thing that was super neat. It's called the internet.
Right, that's
and then
your.
that was cool. So I remember going to like a Barnes and Noble or something in Bellevue and buying a book on Front Page or some web development book. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that kind of stuff. And so we decided to shut down the company, my wife and I, and we moved back to Vancouver.
You wanted to be back in Vancouver.
I wanted to
and
be
you're
back
like,
in Vancouver.
I can make this work, I think.
Well, at that time I decided I do. So I had no bachelor's degree, but I found a university out of Edinburgh, the Heriot-Watt University, that you could do MBA coursework without a bachelor's degree, but you had to pass 2 courses in order to be officially matriculated. Right?
Okay.
So you could you would take the exams out at UBC, and so I wanted to do my MBA through that.
Wow.
And then I was doing this like consulting, internet consulting, strategy consulting.
Yeah.
And then also for color print media. So I had a friend who in the mining industry. So I was doing like annual reports, like big 4 color print media annual reports
Sick.
and stuff. And then I started doing work with Morrow and Trevor and stuff like that. And then the company that I used for dial-up, which was ISDN at the time, which is the fastest internet you could get, which was 128K. 256K modems paired, basically. So that's what they did, and so I went and talked to them, and that's the company that I ended up joining. There was a couple people there, and then we built that up to be Radiant Communications, and so I ditched the MBA because I had that, and then I've worked in technology and software ever since.
Right, because that company blows up and goes public or
Yeah,
sells
so I
or
left
something?
before it went public, but that was good for me.
Yeah.
Like rough for me emotionally. Like my wife begged me to go to counseling because I was watching. We grew so much that and then I was basically, we hired a gray hair, which I now would be considered to be CEO. And he said, you can either work for somebody I hire or you can leave, knowing that I'd leave.
Wow.
Because he'd slowly moved
So
me
you left your own company, and
so,
as a founding member, when it sold, you would have been entitled to some sort of
I still
share.
did fine.
Oh, you...
Yeah.
Okay.
Financially, it was fine.
But it was just
But
the last...
emotionally,
emotionally
watching
the last
them
way
take
it
this
sucked.
company that I'd helped build, I helped build again. It's like it's never
all the
one
people
person.
around you. Yeah,
lots of people,
cool.
and watching them, what I felt like they were destroying it was fine.
Right.
Like it went public. It ended up becoming private again. Like somebody bought it and took it private. So then that's when I started doing consulting and using the platform we built at that company to do e-commerce development. So
Sick.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
During that time, and we can cut this out if we have to, but I think it was maybe your grandfather passes away. And
the gold thing?
Yeah, I love that.
So that's my great uncle.
So it was a great uncle.
Great uncle
okay.
in Edmonton.
Yeah, in Edmonton.
So he was my great uncle in Edmonton. My mom had inherited that house he was living in, which is now a tattoo parlor.
Sick.
And I've got a picture of that house in Edmonton with fields all around it. It's basically downtown Edmonton.
Oh wow!
I mean, it's been it was a family house since like forever.
Cool.
Anyways, he was having a hard time. My mom went out to help him and was cleaning up the house, and the windowsills in the kitchen were covered in mouse shit and dirt, and she started cleaning up, and she found wrapped gold bars lining the windowsills under all this mouse shit, and so then she found a shoebox full of gold. So she had more than a full shoebox full of gold. Can you imagine at $5,000 an ounce?
How
much that is worth?
I can't.
Now?
Yeah.
And so she arranged she took it to the bank, got him a safety deposit box. All of that was willed to his church.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And the farm he also had ownership of. The little farm, it was also given to his church as well.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's just incredible. I mean,
but it was hilarious. So
it's
when
from
we
a
went
different
to clean,
time.
when
Yeah.
he died, and we
Yeah.
had to go clean out the house so my mom could sell it. My brother lives in Europe, in Denmark. One lives in Atlanta, in the States. We all met in Edmonton with my mom and to clean the house out because they grew up in that house, the family, through the Depression and stuff. So the basement had like boxes of leather uppers and eyelets from shoes, and like they kept everything, right?
Wow.
So we just got a huge dumpster, and we were tearing that house apart looking for more gold. We didn't find any. We didn't find any.
Yeah, because that story stayed with me. I think it would have been, around that time that you were building the website, and you're like, dude, my mom found this gold, and I was like, oh man, like still when people tear down houses, when I was a mailman, I would go and I'd check the windowsills because of that story. Like they'd be like, because maybe who knows? Who knows?
Well, because when people get old, they get weird, and they get like
they do.
They don't know what they're doing, and
and the money thing.
As we get older, and we have parents that if they're still with us, they're getting older, and some of the stuff they say and do, and it's just like, oh my God, kill me before that happens.
Please. I mean, we could talk more about the camps. How many years did it go? It went 3. We talked about what was the decision to close it if it's successful. Why?
Because I'd started this snowboard company.
The luxury thing is taking up all your time. So when you're closing these things down, I'm thinking mostly luxury. Like, do you have to make difficult phone calls to like Derek and Sheen and everybody and say hey, you know what, guys? I
mean, you feel like a total shit, right? Because like, I think some of those guys probably could have done better with other sponsors. You always feel bad about like, did I do right by them?
Sheen did great. Derek did great. Yeah.
Could I have paid them more?
Right.
All that kind of stuff.
Right. Could I have split the boat between the?
Should I have not fucking bought a boat and instead bought a condo in Vancouver? Right. Or 2. Probably that would have been better.
Yeah. I mean, financially. But at the end of the day, that's the thing, is that at the end of the day, did you learn the lesson by getting the $5,000 line of credit? Or, like think of who you would have been if he would have just gave you the $5,000. Right?
Well, I think, to be honest, I think it would have been probably the same.
Yeah, you would have made the same decisions. Yeah. Sure.
I mean, it would have been like, when I think of like, there's always these things like, if I hadn't gone with Chris down to Seattle and talked with Pete and Mike, like where would my life have gone? Right,
because it would have been a completely different deal. Maybe the camps would still be going on now, and you'd be like Tim Wendell, who's still running camps and coming by, and the young kids are like, well, that's a guy who it's named after, or whatever, Who knows?
Yeah. It was good. I mean, and it's funny. We didn't get into any of this stuff about like just that whole crew from that timeline.
Let's talk crew. Let's do a little bit.
No, I mean, because you think about like, so it's interesting. I see on my Instagram feed, which I look at far too much, but mine is mostly a lot of farming stuff and stuff, but. But anyways, I'm a hippie Salt Spring guy now. So,
Killer.
Yeah,
cool.
Vegetable gardening and all that.
Dope.
Chickens. And,
I bought land in Belize, and we're gonna be doing. We're doing chickens. We're doing. I mean, down there we can do coffee, chocolate.
Yeah.
Lots of mangoes.
Wow.
Papaya, watermelon.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, offline we'll talk about the chickens thing.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, so I'd like to see Kearns on he's doing podcast stuff, and he had him and Sean had the documentary thing, which was I haven't seen, but I understand it's amazing.
Yeah, I went and saw the premiere.
So like
it was awesome.
I spent basically like a year traveling with Sean in the early days, to contests, as much as you could call them that, around BC, and that was interesting.
Yeah, he talks about that on the Airtime podcast, just about traveling to contests was just. that was the thing that you did.
Yeah, and so like you'd spend your money on beer, so you'd be like getting to ketchup packages and hot water to make like tomato soup.
Yeah. Yes.
Like I think I shared that story where like we're driving in the middle of nowhere in the interior in his Volkswagen van, and he like, this is Sean for you, right? Like you're driving along, it's just he and I, and he turns all the lights off and just keeps driving just to watch me freak out.
Right.
You
Sick.
know? So the funny thing is you learn a lot of things, and one of the things I learned was I tried to emulate him, and I just came across as an asshole.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
He had the charisma and everything to pull that off. I just did not. I just was a jerk. But we were all that whole like group. We were. I've heard other stories about people from outside.
Yeah.
Being like, wow, you guys were like harsh.
Yeah, like Creekside Mobs stuff was like. By the time I moved to BC in '93. There were warnings, like people would say, like, just be careful.
Really?
Like, you don't want to bump into the
I don't think I
Creekside
was
mob.
part of that group, but...
Well, it eventually becomes... I think it eventually becomes, like, that's the name for those guys that kind of ruled Whistler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you guys had a...
Well, I was sort of like, again, going back to the adjacent.
Sure.
The cool adjacent.
Sure.
Is like, I was sort of like... mix because I spent that first year up there, that whole year, which was a very different vibe than later once like all the Calgary crew moved in and all that stuff, it changed a lot. But like, so I was always like, like Dano and Gary and, going riding. I mean, I remember riding with like Warburton and Lundgren and those guys, and Dano, like you literally, like, you're not really riding together. You're keeping up, so then you could ride the chair with them.
Right.
But if you don't keep up, you're riding by yourself.
You're riding by yourself. Totally. That was my experience in Whistler, and maybe I even took it personally. I was like, well, I don't mind waiting for people that are a little slower than me. Like, why is this so
That was just
mean?
the way it was.
It felt mean. It felt like, holy shit, I'm right. Yeah, I rode by myself all day today trying to find where, like, we didn't have cell phones, so you can't figure out where anyone went.
Yeah. So, but that was just the way it was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So then you did a year up in Whistler, and then when you come back here and start the camps, you're bringing Whistler to Seymour to coach.
Yeah.
And Jameson, isn't he from Bend?
He's from Oregon, yeah. And there was other Americans that came up.
He did a radio show out of there. I'm supposed to go down and interview him. I don't know anything about him really.
Yeah. But he's super funny guy.
So did you have to pay for his accommodations up here?
He just stayed with me.
He stayed at your house.
Yeah.
I love it.
So it's funny. I've got a picture of him and I at like the formal dining table at my mom's house. Like, 'cause there was some big family event that he was just part of.
Of course.
Yeah. Because that's the way it was back then. Right?
Yeah. Your friend is staying with you. He's coming to the dinner.
Yeah. Like Estes, when I lived over in Kitts, Estes would come to like hang out for a bit and stay for a month.
Sure.
For 6 weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
well, that's not good for girlfriends. It's great for
but at the time
going snowboarding every day and doing the fun stuff.
Yeah, my
every
whole
day.
place was not good for girlfriends. It was like, I got broken into once. The cops came in and said, "Whoa, they destroyed the place." I'm like, it's pretty much status quo, right?
That's so amazing.
Yeah,
that's so amazing.
Yeah.
You're sitting there, the cops are like, "Oh, we've never. They must have hated you guys or something. This is like a hate crime or something."
Yeah.
You're like,
so. Yeah, no. I mean, the only reason I could tell is like because I had a laser disc player. It was pretty dope.
Oh yeah.
And all that stuff was turned around. All the because we interrupted my dog and I interrupted the person in there. So yeah.
And they ran out.
They ran out the back window.
Yeah. How was Kitts back then? We're in Kitts right now.
Yeah.
It was because it's really hard to remember before it was yoga, right? Like it transformed into like, you see someone go in the grocery store. Can I bring my little dog in here? And they're like, sure. And then, namaste. It's like that's where we live now here.
I don't know. I mean, it was Third and McDonald. I mean, I was a couple blocks from the beach. I had a young puppy dog. I mean,
sick.
Like how I was single. What could possibly go wrong?
Was PD already there with his shop?
Yeah.
On 4th?
So that's PD's another guy. Like, so I remember going. We just drove in because we drove in from the ferry this morning, and we drove down Oak. And every time I drive down Oak, I see this place where PD's shop was. That we would take the bus from North Vancouver all the way down there just to look at stuff.
Right? Just to go
and
to the
shop. And then PD had his shop over on West 4th.
Yeah.
And so I traded him a few snowboards for like this killer 1950s Schwinn beach cruiser.
Oh, sick.
Which I then ended up giving away at some point, which I shouldn't have. But
I have a 70s one that I just found leaning on a dumpster.
Really?
All black. It's called the 1986 Schwinn Coaster.
Really?
Because it's got a coaster brake. It's got a little front brake. It's stock.
Really?
White sidewalls.
Yeah. Because this was fully, like it was
restored. Yeah. That's what he did for a while on at that West 4th store, hey?
Yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah, those are dope.
But yeah, no, it was fun. It was cool living down in this area. And
there was, you'd see skaters skating down the hills sometimes, and they're gnarly hills, dude. Like,
and gnarly pavement.
So bad. Some of the stuff is cobblestone.
I mean, it's not Salt Spring, but
yeah. Well, Salt Spring's got a killer park.
Yeah.
It's actually got a really nice skate park.
Yeah.
What's the vibe over there now? Wasn't I just there? I was there to interview Murray Seipel.
Oh yeah.
His place, his spot is so nice, dude.
Yeah, I haven't been up there.
He's got a great outdoor fire pit. It's just a really nice vibe.
Yeah. I know it's Salt Spring's super weird. I mean,
like just the people that are there.
Yeah, like it's a super weird mix of like. You've got like the huge art community, like Murray artists and musicians, and some really famous people have places there or live there. And then you've got the rednecks.
You see Zach Galifianakis over there? I think he's got a spot.
Something. It was one of the Gulf Islands.
Yep.
But and then you've got the rednecks, and then so you got like the hippies, rednecks, and then you've got like the kind of normal people, and then you've got like the super rich people.
Right.
Crazy
rich.
Like
right.
and like you never know who you're standing behind in line. Like I watched this guy. I used to see him. I don't see him anymore. If you saw him on the street, you'd assume he was homeless.
Yeah.
Except he's getting out of like a Porsche GT3 Cabrio that is like covered in mud. It's like what is it, a couple $100,000 car or something?
Sure.
Covered in mud, and
that's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's so dope.
Yeah. But it's nice. We won't ever move back to a city
because of the pace of life.
Of life. Like we don't have that big of a property, but we can look out over the ocean and.
How about this connection to growing your own food and that kind of thing? When did that start for you guys?
In North Van, we started in containers, and then when we got when we moved to Salt Spring, we started doing it more. Last year was a crazy year for family reasons, so we didn't do much gardening, but we've had like 8 chickens, and we've got so this year we're just the other day we were talking, I said I don't know how long this chore is going to take. The chore was setting up all the grow tables, the grow light tables, so for seedling starts. So that's like we have a room that we have all this we can start. So right now it's like onions and certain things that we could start now.
Yeah, you have to know
celery starts
you have
now.
to know these things and when they start and all that.
And then you know it, and then you do really well, and then the next year like I got this unlock, and then it's shit.
Really?
Because who would ever want to be a farmer, man? Like what you're fighting, Mother Nature.
Yeah.
I mean, in order to be a farmer, you have to be loaded.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a permaculture farmer. So like plant trees and helper plants to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but nature, like everything I've grown in the city here, like it's rats get it or squirrels or raccoons. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the little bite marks are rats.
Right.
So your potatoes are gone.
Well, so we have tons of
fruit's
rabbits.
Gone. Rabbits. They come and eat that
stuff. A big thing, yeah. So, but all of our gardens are all fenced, so they can't get at it.
Right.
And then when I built my chicken coop, it goes 2 feet underground, the hardware cloth, so that we have mink on the island.
Mink, yeah.
And
those are gnarly, right?
They are psychotic.
I saw one on the highway. and I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And it was attacking a rat and just shaking it
Well,
around.
because
I was like,
it'll get in
whoa.
and kill all the chickens and like for sport, and maybe drink a bit of blood. Like a friend of my dad's on the south end of the island caught one in the coop, had his shotgun, and it literally attacked the shotgun barrel, and he blew it to pieces. Like they're just psychotic.
They're gnarly.
Yeah.
Minks.
So they'll dig, and then raccoons and stuff, things will dig underneath. So there's hardware cloth that goes down underneath, and so this is what I fill my days with. So we're down to 2 chickens now. I never realized I'd have to learn how to euthanize a chicken myself, which is not a ton of fun.
Don't you just put it on a chopping block and cut its head off?
Well, you could, but then you got a big mess. You basically, I mean, I don't know if anybody wants to hear this, but you basically hold it and you find where the skull meets the neck.
Okay.
And then you kind of pull the head back like that, and you extend the neck, and then you just pull really hard, and so you separate the skull from the neck, and it's cervical dislocation, and it's instant death. And they bounce around a lot, but but when they're sick, because they're such a prey animal, that they will hide that they're injured, and sick, and suffering.
Right.
And so when they're suffering, and you can't do anything but like do the best thing for them. And I'm not taking a fucking chicken to a vet.
No.
So,
Right. That's just not. Yeah, it's not a pet. It's a.
Yeah. This is a
food.
weird roundup. This is where we end the conversation.
Well, I think we've had a similar path from like this love of snowboarding.
Yeah.
Which is kind of subversive at the time that we're in it. You know, it's
totally
totally
subversive. Totally.
And so now the kind of subversive thing is like maybe not eating factory food and maybe not going to Starbucks and maybe like reconnecting with like natural cycles of the planet. That's subversive now.
Yeah. Well, I think isn't skiing subversive now for kids?
No, it's not. No.
Don't kids are like, I don't want to snowboard.
We
I want
went
to
past
ski.
that. We went past that.
Yeah,
that was maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
The last time I was on a mountain was, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Let's go shred, man.
I went skiing. Got some shape skis.
Of course.
Because I was like, I'm never going to be able to snowboard the way I used to snowboard.
I bet you could still do inverts.
Skiing, yeah. And skiing is like so easy to do it. Lazy.
Right.
You can
lazy.
Ski lazy.
Right.
Right. And so,
well, that's
and
how
I
snowboarding was.
13 years of ski racing.
Yeah.
And so, and it was with my brother was up, and the kids were taking. They didn't want to snowboard. They wanted to. They actually didn't want to do either. I forced them to do lessons.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, that was the last time I was up.
Well, let's get a crew together and go.
Yeah. I would like to.
I would like
to go snowboard.
What we'll do is you should come on the Valhalla trip. We did a Valhalla trip between Boxing Day and New Year's this year, and it was affordable, and it's just POW riding. So you could just get on a long board with a swallowtail and just turn.
Swallowtail, that's hilarious.
Yeah. That's what I'm riding right there. There's a smooth operator in the corner with a big swallowtail, and because you can just stand on the middle of it, no leg fatigue. It's a great old man board, dude. I love them. Yeah,
it's funny because that was one of the best trips I ever went on, was going to the Trans World Industry Conference in Banff.
Sick.
And so Marco and a bunch of us were road tripping, and we stopped and went cab boarding. And it was minus 40, waist deep.
Oh, wow.
And so that was just like face shots every turn.
Yeah.
You know, beard is caked in snow. You get in the cat. On the way up the hill, you're like, we're never going to get enough riding in. This is going to suck. On the way down, they're like, hey, you can ride out or you can take the cat out. And we're like, we're taking the cat. And that's when we were all fit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
And so that was epic. And then driving through to Banff was like a religious experience. You know, minus 40, clear skies, the mountains. Like, it was just crazy. But you're driving in what was then basically a new Nissan Pathfinder, heat cranked, and there's ice forming on the inside of the glass.
Yeah.
And you're like, if we break down, we're totally hosed.
We're gonna die.
We're gonna die.
Yeah. Well, I did that road. I've driven it a couple of times, but each time I'm like, I'm bringing my kids here just so they can see this.
Yeah.
Like, it's the most beautiful spot in the world.
Yeah.
What cool passes and the mountains moving weird in the background.
Yeah,
it's like you're in a dream or something.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's so gorgeous. All right,
Anyways,
buddy.
I want to thank you for it's. I know we've talked about me getting on here, and it's sort of like the reminiscing of olden times. It's kind of fun.
It's super dope, dude.
Yeah,
It was
I
really
appreciate it.
It was really cool that I met you after you'd done all that stuff, and you still had the air of like a snowboarder from the 90s, which is it doesn't leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's something different about
Yeah.
people that got to go through that.
Well, the funny thing is so I've been in kind of executive leadership roles in technology companies since then,
Yeah.
and it was marketing, but also in the sort of partnership alliances thing and for software companies, and that's where like I do really well, and it all comes back from that. The foundation from snowboarding of being able to work well with people and build trust and that kind of thing. I mean, snowboarding snowboarding and skateboarding before that was the thing that it was a foundation of my life, really.
Yeah. We're lucky. Sean in his movies and life is just putting those tidbits out there. Like, how lucky are we that the thing that we fell in love with was embodied. Right, like because like you've also fallen in love with you just talked about being scrolling, and I scroll way too much. If I would have been born in this generation, I probably wouldn't have snowboarded. Probably would have been resistant to ski or snowboard. Like I don't want to.
Well, the other thing is like the cost.
It's insane.
It's insane. Like my wife put this amazing book together for me, and it was up for my 30th birthday, and on the back page is all my ski passes from when I was a kid for Whistler, and it was like $70 for the year. For the year,
exactly. It's nuts.
So
it's become elitist because so many people want to do it, and you have to. That's the way that markets work. Yeah, it should be outside. It's funny, the older I get, the more things I want outside the free market. I don't think that there's a place in the free market for education.
With my kids.
Yeah, or healthcare should be outside that market.
The funny thing is like there's nothing, there isn't a free market anymore. And if you listen to a guy like Jim, I think this is Jim Balsillie. He's the guy who founded Research in Motion, like BlackBerry. He has this an opinion piece and talks about a market of one because of all the algorithmic pricing.
Yep.
So they know who you are. They know how much.
Right.
So you will get a lower price than me because they think I have more money than you.
Right.
That's not a free market.
That's not free market. You're right. Yeah, I just heard that I don't even know if they got spanked. It's just Uber got exposed that they are using an algorithm that's a desperation algorithm. So like the more desperate you are as a driver, you get the fares offered to you first.
They do the same thing with this person I was listening to said they both ordered the Uber.
Yeah.
And they both got different prices.
Right.
Because one person was more wealthy than the other person.
Right.
And so same with now, like Delta is using AI-driven pricing models, algorithmic pricing models. And so like you're sitting there when you're buying flights, I've got like a couple laptops. I use VPNs. I clear all my cookies because they know that I'm looking for this flight. They also know I go to like a certain place 4 or 5 times a year for work.
Right.
So they know like guaranteed I'm paying more than other people.
That's unreal, hey?
Yeah. And they know how much I have paid in the past.
That's
it's really terrible.
Up. So it's not open market anymore.
Yeah,
it's market of one.
Yeah.
I mean that's what all the phones are getting us ready for.
Yeah.
Is getting us ready for your own. Try and talk to your wife about her feed. Like you're not going like, hey, what did you see in your thing today? She's like, my wife is like. Way over here and I'm way over there.
Yeah, but the thing is that they can target by household, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, my wife will be like, "Hey, are you planning a trip to France?" Because that's where my software headquarters are. Right
Yep.
And because she's getting ads for Air France.
Unreal.
And I'm like,
because it's to your VPN, because to your
because they've connected my account and like her and I. It's like when people are like, oh my God, are they listening?
Right.
It's like, no, you were at this person's house. They know you were at this location.
Right.
They know this location buys Crest toothpaste.
Right.
Therefore, they're going to advertise Crest toothpaste to you.
Totally. It's so nuts, man.
It's bad.
I don't know if it's horrible though.
That's why I want to go.
We used to get ads.
Dude, it is horrible.
I don't know. We used to get ads for tampons and stuff. I don't need those, so now I don't get those.
Yeah, but I get that, but it's about the fact that they will jack up the price for you, drop it for somebody else. It's all that. I mean, my dream is to have a huge property, be off the grid.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm doing in Belize. It's off grid.
Yeah, and just like only go on grid when I want.
Up to you.
Yeah.
As opposed to
because reading.
And you're a software guy. You're like a tech guy. This is your it's hard to it's hard to reconcile.
Anyways, talking about AI and that shit, well, that's a whole other topic.
How about AI? Yeah, like where are you at with that?
Oh, I use it every day.
Yeah, me too.
But for work.
I'm using it to build this Belize thing.
Okay.
It's giving me design ideas that I like that stairs should be flared at the bottom for this inviting thing. It just changed my project.
Okay.
And I'm like, I want to use the design principles of the golden ratio.
Right.
I'm really inspired by Area 2 for 1 and Mikey Bassich. Like he built an off-grid thing, right? So here I am on grid going like, how do I design this? And AI is like so good at just like that stuff.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Anyways, I don't want to. This will go on way too long because it's. I mean, it goes from like just the industry itself.
Yes.
And the fact that it's a house of cards.
Right.
It's a lot like the .com boom.
Okay.
Right? Where leading up to the .com crash, there were all of these fantastical ideas of what the internet could do.
Right.
Problem is, it was like way too early.
Okay.
So you got like a company like Webvan who got, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars they invested, and they built out all this infrastructure for delivering groceries.
Right.
And then it collapsed.
Right.
And then ironically Netflix bought all their infrastructure to deliver DVDs. But anyways.
Oh, I forgot when Netflix was delivering DVDs. That's right.
So, but...
So
that was just ahead of its time.
They were built on a 5 cents on the dollar infrastructure had they not been able to buy that, Netflix wouldn't be Netflix.
Probably not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so the same thing, because there's all of this crazy promise about what AI can do and what it can't do.
Right.
And some of it is absolute horseshit currently.
Yeah. The only thing that I'd want to ask about it would be the open source stuff versus paid. Like open source is always better for me.
Yeah, but so what is open source though? Like,
well, there's they're working on. The reason I bring it up is that they're working on open source AI, and then the for-profit guys are saying we can't allow any open source stuff here because it's dangerous. Which is what they always say.
Just anyways, I risk. Sounding like an idiot talking about this, but
I just did. Yeah. Anyways,
it's there's just so much money put into it.
Yes.
And it is done so inefficiently.
Right.
That it's like horrifying for the environment.
Right.
And it's because it's like Silicon Valley's way is like just throw money at it.
It's like the war chest idea.
Throw money at it.
You want to you want to come out the other end as the number one guy, and everybody else falls away, and you outspent them. And the
other thing is that I have two kids that are both creative musician types.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the giant thief. It's the easiest way for people to steal creative ideas. I don't. Okay, I'm stopping now because I'm gonna go on a rant, and then I'm gonna be like,
get canceled by your tech friends, or you just it's not a fun conversation, right?
Yeah.
My wife asked me twice today to never use it again. Yeah. She's like, it's horrible and it's ruining the world. And can you promise me you'll never use it again? I'm like, I use it to edit the podcast. It's every search query on my phone. It's
Yeah.
So,
The nice thing is, so like from my work, we have like paid accounts.
yep.
And so none of what we do goes into teaching them. It never
Got
goes
it.
into teaching the model.
Right.
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 So that they can't use stuff that we do in their
Proprietary
model.
stuff for
Right.
you only.
Apparently.
Right. Apparently. Right.
So,
By their promise.
right.
That how do you ever check? Right.
But like the fact that so I'm responsible for the Americas for this software company, and so I like sales and consulting, and so for lead follow up we use it, because literally we just go in and we get a lead that comes in, we put the name in, it tells us who it is, how many employees they have, how many locations they are, so that can tell which sales guy does it go to, and then we say run discovery on this person at this company, and then it uses our messaging framework, so it will say this is what they do, this is what we found about them, these are the kind of the talking points you should hit on, here's the kind of solutions that we can provide that might make sense to this particular person.
Right.
It's hugely valuable.
Yeah. Holy shit, Paul.
Yeah.
Dude, what an awesome conversation. Like analog, but screwing pieces of plastic to the back of a boot
to ruin boots.
That's so awesome, man.
Yeah.
It was really great talking with you about this stuff. And I'll follow up and make sure that we go snowboarding. Not that I'm some important person to go snowboarding with, but I'd love to get Kearns and Warburton and those guys just out on a
Have you seen Johnson?
Yeah. Saw him at the premiere. I texted him this week because I was going over to Victoria. I'm going to have him on the show again this year.
Yeah, the last time I saw him, so for a short time in that consulting period, I owned an online skateboard shop.
Oh, wow.
Called Skate Source, and then an online action sports video store called Drop Video, which I sold to the guy who, I don't know if he still does, but he runs the whole Rush band website and merch side. But I rented space from them at Wickwinder. Their distribution, like a loft. I had a little bit of loft before I had my own space in North Van.
I
had like this
how
space
fun
at Wickwinder.
So
Phil and Sean.
Oh yeah, I love Phil. I haven't seen him in 20 years or something, or longer. Yeah. Isn't that insane? Yeah. Right on, small world, and so much fun talking with you. Thanks for doing the show. I really appreciate what you've done for snowboarding and the community and all that stuff, and just like how cool of a dude you are. Yeah, it's great.
Whatever.
Oh, I just love organic.
Do I have to thank Mike for his Flojoy Water that I drank while doing this?
No, this is Roach, Chris Roach.
Oh, Chris Roach.
Yeah.
Chris
you could thank Carl for the IPA beers we didn't drink because it's 10 in the morning or whatever time it is.
Yeah, and I don't really drink beer anymore.
Me neither. But Carl, these things are good. They pep you up. Yeah, there we go. We got in a little product placement there
product
too.
Placement.
Excellent.
Yeah,
you know how to do this.
Keep your podcast going.
Thanks. Thank you, Burton.
I have to say it was good. The tangerine soda.
It's epic. Yeah, they're going off.
Yeah.
They're coming for death. What is it? Liquid Death?
Liquid Death,
Yeah. A little more happy. Flojoy. Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's the counterbalance.
Yeah, it's the counterbalance. Exactly.
Right. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay.
Killer. FNRad shout-outs this week to Paul Culling and his wife, Kim. Thanks for coming over from Salt Spring Island. And thanks to our Patreon supporters. Special thanks to all the listeners who've reached out with kind messages this week about the show. Be sure to come back next week for another episode of FNRad Snowboarding, brought to you by Flojoy Water and produced by FNRad Productions.